Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel Dive in the Words. Today we're diving into a book that might just change the way you see the world. It's called Factfulness, 10 Reasons We're Wrong About the World, and Why Things Are Better Than You Think by Hans Rosling. Now if you've ever found yourself feeling a little too pessimistic about the state of the world, this book is for you. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be seeing things in a whole new light. But before we jump into the key insights from the book, let's talk a bit about the man behind it, Hans Rosling. Hans was a Swedish physician, statistician, and global health expert who spent his life breaking down misconceptions about the world. He co-founded the Gapminder Foundation with his son, Ola Rosling, and daughter-in-law, Anna Rosling Ronlund. This family is all about promoting a fact-based worldview, and Factfulness is their ultimate guidebook to clear thinking. Unfortunately, Hans passed away in 2017, but his legacy lives on through this powerful book. So what is Factfulness all about? Well, Hans Rosling, along with Ola and Anna, walks us through 10 cognitive instincts that lead us to see the world in a distorted way. You know, those knee-jerk reactions and biases that make us think everything is worse than it actually is. Let's break down each of these instincts and see how they shape our view of the world. First up, the gap instinct. This is when we tend to split the world into us and them, rich versus poor, developed versus developing. But guess what? The reality is much more nuanced. Most people are actually somewhere in the middle, and global living conditions are improving overall. So next time you catch yourself thinking in extremes, remember, the gap might not be as wide as you think. Then there's the negativity instinct. We all know this one. Focusing on the bad news and overlooking the good. The media often feeds into this by highlighting disasters and crises. But Hans tells us that, over time, most things are getting better. Whether it's health, education, or economic conditions, the trends are positive. So let's try to see the bigger picture and appreciate the progress we've made. Next is the straight line instinct. We tend to think that trends will just keep going in a straight line, but that's rarely the case. For example, population growth will eventually level off, not keep increasing forever. It's important to remember that trends can and do change direction, so don't be fooled by a straight line. The fear instinct is another big one. We're hardwired to focus on what scares us, and the media knows this. But fear often leads to distorted views of the world. Hans Rosling encourages us to look at the data and assess risks based on facts, not fear. Now let's talk about the size instinct. This is when we misjudge proportions, like thinking one big event is more significant than it actually is, while underestimating smaller, more frequent occurrences. The key here is to compare numbers in context and think relatively. It's all about seeing the forest, not just the trees. Then there's the generalization instinct. We often make broad assumptions based on limited experience or information, but Hans advises us to be cautious with our generalizations. Instead of categorizing people and places too broadly, let's dig deeper and understand the unique contexts. The destiny instinct is the belief that things are set in stone, that cultures, nations, and societies are destined to stay the same. But Hans shows us that change is not only possible, it's inevitable. The world is constantly evolving, and so should our thinking. Next up is the single perspective instinct. This is when we interpret the world through just one lens, like our ideology or profession. But the truth is, no single perspective can capture the complexity of global issues. We need to approach problems from multiple angles to get the full picture. The blame instinct is all about oversimplification. It's easy to point fingers and blame a single person or group for a problem, but that rarely tells the whole story. Hans encourages us to look for systemic causes rather than assigning blame. It's about understanding the bigger picture. Finally, there's the urgency instinct. This is that rush we feel to take immediate action when faced with a threat. But Hans reminds us to slow down, check the data, and consider all the options before jumping to conclusions. Not every situation requires an instant reaction. So, what can we learn from Factfulness? Well, it's all about adopting a fact-based worldview. By recognizing and overcoming these 10 instincts, we can see the world more clearly, make better decisions, and appreciate the progress humanity has made. The world might not be perfect, but it's definitely getting better. If you found this summary helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell for notifications. And if you've read Factfulness or have any thoughts on it, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear what you think. Thanks for watching, and remember, stay curious, stay informed, and always look at the facts.